Hi, this is Shui with a review of the Reebok Soul Fury Floatride. Yep, the Fury, the Pump Fury originally was an explosively popular model, and it endures the test of time. Initially, when it came out, and I think Jackie Chan was promoting it, and this Icelandic singer Björk was wearing it in her music video, and I guess it grabbed attention because of the wild color scheme it had and the clearly decoupled midsole that it had, and of course it had the pump and no laces. That's one thing. They came up with a new concept, something that's lightweight. They made sure to use the TP or the plastic midfoot shank and the decoupled midsole to its fullest, and it was lightweight. And unfortunately, the midsole was the original Palm Furies had hexolite. The recent ones had nothing special, somewhat of an EVA foam. It didn't have much of a great cushioning. But this one, they actually implemented Floatride, which is Reebok's very own answer to the Boost. It's not exactly Boost-like. It's more like a aerated version of Boost. I think Boost came up with this lightweight version of it for marathoners. That's what this more closely resembles, but that version did not have great impact protection. It was just somewhat of an imitation of a Boost with which provides a lightweight ride for long distance runners. But this is extremely lightweight, but at the same time it provides great cushioning. Still, it's not as rich as Boost, but it's not as bad as the lightweight version of Boost that they've had. So it's somewhere in between. The shoe itself is amazingly light. I think it weighs give or take about 200 grams, which is really light for a size 9. The materials are interesting. First of all, the decoupled midsole. It's got this indentation, so it adds a little bit more to the impact protection on the strike zones there. As for the heel strike area, it's got actually a big hole there, so that the shock can be more, I guess, the shock and impact can be more widely distributed. So that's a good job. This is where the hexalite used to be, but the flight light will do its job. And if you look inside, there's a lot of ventilations there to provide a cool ride. The upper itself, the medial side, has a lot of holes. The material is not stretchy, but it's light and I guess easily aerated because I can see you from inside here. The lateral side is somewhat of a typical knit, which doesn't have much of a stretch to it, so it provides decent lockdown. And what I especially like about this shoe is that most knitted shoes, they're just knit all the way, so you'll have your toes kind of moving in. If you have some forceful side-to-side movements, your feet will be trying to escape the shoe, and the shoe will have your feet sliding outside of the midsole and whatnot. But they actually have a bit of a shell here. Yeah, so that's good. It's good for containment, good for lockdown. The laces are weird, and it's got a bit of that hardened one burrito type of a one-piece upper wrap. So that's a nice way to, I guess, be more eco-friendly in terms of the production of the shoes. The heel, it's got a nice little heel cup that's lightweight and gets the job done. And the padding around the heel is really good as well. Very thick neoprene-like material that provides a very soft ride and comfort and lockdown there. The outsole, yeah, it's got deeper diamond grooves on parts that would require greater traction, so that's great. The Floatride, it's the first Floatride. I can't remember the name of the first Floatride Reebok shoes. They were very lightweight. They felt soft to the touch, but they didn't seem to have that energy return or the return of the quick bounce back, or it didn't seem to rebound into its original shape quickly. Then the second or the subsequent one, I think the recent one was a Forever Floatride or something like that. I actually had that, and that one was a little bit firmer, maybe a little bit too firm. It actually gave me a bit of a shin splint as I ran around in it for a few hours. This one is a nice balance in between, closer to the earlier one, which seemed like skin that's malnourished. If you push too hard, it just goes in and it doesn't bounce back as fast. But it's still better than the initial model. It's slightly further than the subsequent Forever Floatride, but yet it provides impact protection and cushioning that you don't really feel. But in some sense, that's good. You don't need to feel it to work. You can feel that it did its job after you go for a brisk jog or a walk. And in some sense, that's the best kind of cushioning. And of course, it's decoupled to provide extra padding for the forefoot and the heel instead of having that wasteful material here or thinning out a little bit so it's just a lazy one piece like the ones they've had in the previous Floatride models. So that is something that I give props to. The insole is just plain old EVA, so maybe if you change up the insole a little bit to your customized one, then maybe you'll be able to enjoy the kind of ride that you might prefer. So there's some option you might want to consider. The price point is going down quite significantly. Unfortunately, the Floatride edition of the Soul Fury is not available in any other color than this. Maybe it's a one-off. I hope they do more of it. I hope they come up with a way to make the Floatride a little bit more evolved as time progresses. I'm really looking forward to this technology being implemented in more shoes, especially in basketball shoes in the near future.